Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host Indie Comics Jones. Today is December 17th, 2020, and this is episode 158. Today we're going to take a look at Unearthed, the 8th issue. It's an Image comic at $3.99, written by Colin Bunn and drawn by Kyle Strahm. I believe I have that right. And we'll take a quick look at the cover. This doesn't actually happen in the book, but it kind of gives you an idea of what we're up against here. I'm not sure who this main character up here, if that's Frankie. I believe that's Frankie, and that's Isaac. Isaac's a boy that came from a small Mexican village that's been kind of acting strangely lately, so something's going on with him. And what we're dealing with in this whole storyline has been mutated humans. It started out, and I'll try to go through it as quick as possible. There was a site in Mexico where it was kind of a cavern, and there was a village close by, and everybody in this village was mutating into these very large and hideous globular beings. And the U.S. Army sent a group down into the caverns, and each cavern was kind of cool. Each cavern they go in there, they face different growths on the walls, different colors, different animals. Some were more vicious than others. And one by one, they were kind of getting picked off and transformed into these mutated human species, which were being absorbed by a very large, ancient alien being that's buried beneath the ground. So around issue 5 or 6, there's actually an eruption that starts out from this cavern, and the major call, it calls in a airstrike, try to stop the eruption, and it wiped out a number of villages right around there, but did not stop the eruption fully. Something came out of there, and it rested above the city of Dallas, and created like a dead zone, as they called it. It was all fenced off. And what happened was everybody below that kind of started mutating and turning into an undead, I don't know what you want to call it, but very kind of, they weren't violent at first, and suddenly they did turn violent, and were trying to track down and eat anybody that was in their way. So they've escaped. They're heading through Tennessee as in a straight line, and this is where this one kind of picks up. So let's take a quick look at it. What's nice about it, I mean, these issues have been coming out really slow, and it's been kind of hard to keep track of it, but we do get a short blurb here that kind of gets you back up to date if you've read all the issues before this. This is a recommend, by the way. I think they're doing a really fine job on this, but it gives you kind of a synopsis of what we've seen so far. The very basic, very basic, but the main points here is Frankie is the main character. She's a doctor, and she's battling her own demons. Her best friend Amelia was one of the ones that died in the caverns, and Frankie actually had to kill her when Amelia went crazy and attacked her. Nails is one of the other survivors from the cavern, and here was Major Cole, who's still in charge of the military operations, trying to quell this whole uprising of alien life. Now we've got King, who was kind of the hero in the caverns. He gave his life so Frankie and Nails could get out alive. And we have Isaac. This is the boy that was first at the village when they arrived, and he's been kind of acting strangely. He's missing his parents. He said his parents went to the caverns, and he goes in there looking for them as well. And then we have this guy who kind of came out later in the story named Henry, and he's somewhat of a, how would you put it, kind of like an evangelist, but pro-alien evangelist. So he's really into this orb that's been floating above Dallas. So that's kind of a quick rundown here. I'm just going to flip through this pretty quick because it is good. The colorist on this is very good as well. Let's see who they got. Oh, I'm sorry. The art was actually Baldomir Rivas. And then Kyle Strahm was one of the writers with Cullen Bunn. And so Cullen Bunn's name's kind of erasing, so I don't know if that means he's disappearing from the story or what. But and I believe that Baldomir is Rivas is also doing the coloring on this. And he's doing a real good job because you'll see each locale has its own flavor to it, no matter where we go. So the first one is she's at the beginning of the cave. They're kind of outside nighttime. She's following Isaac down, and she knows Isaac's up to something. She can't figure it out, and he leads her into another cavern. And then we'll pick up with the army. There's been the undead mutants that have busted out of Dallas, and they're heading across the U.S. I don't know if you can really see that very much. So they decide to follow, and Nails is in charge of this operation. So you get a couple pictures of that. They talk a little bit. And then we're back in the caverns, and Isaac's leading on, and Amelia comes upon these strange chains that are hanging from the ceiling. And it turns out that they were holding organs, and now she has a vision of her friend, this is Frank, I'm sorry, Amelia, telling her about some kind of dice game that I guess it's supposed to be like a Dungeons and Dragons type game. But it's just kind of a strange, kind of weird atmospheric feeling. Then we've got Major Cull making it to his house. I believe this is his wife or ex-wife. Her name is Fernie, I believe. And so when we get the shot of him standing there, mind if I come in? You look behind you, you see all the undead mutants have accumulated on that property for whatever reason. I don't know if they're just passing through or that's where they were heading. Meanwhile, back in Dallas, we have the orb that was circling above, and it suddenly starts to come apart and spewing some strange liquid out, and then we're back in the cavern. You can see this art is really kind of creepy all the way through. Amelia, the image of Amelia somehow gives a hypodermic needle to Frankie. It says you're going to need this later. It doesn't tell her what for. And this is when we get reintroduced to Henry. I believe his name's Henry Thomas. He's kind of this evangelist, creepy guy. And as you can see, is disrobed here, and his body is very much in a strange state of mutation as well. But he's also run this cult in another area, and I don't know if it's just another dimension or what, because King, who was the hero earlier on, is in this pastoral area, and he eats this special fruit, and he finds the Henry Thomas, I believe this is Henry Thomas, just laying there in a circle, and this is how the story ends for now, is they kind of meet up, and he says, King says to Henry Thomas, "Welcome to our garden." So I don't know if there's something that happened to him somewhere or what, but it's just kind of strange. But you can see the coloring in here is just beautiful. Really nice job, art and color. So the story, it would seem like it was kind of dying out, but it's actually picked up over the last couple issues. Hopefully we'll get the next issue fairly soon. We won't have to wait as long. And here's the cover for the following issue coming up, issue 9, which shows Major Cull on there doing whatever he's doing. I'm not sure. So all in all, it is a recommend if I haven't mentioned it already. There's some other quick things that are going on with Image. And we'll finish up here and go on back. So thank you very much for stopping by to see this review. I know it was very short. We are 8 issues in, and it would be hard to go through every issue. So I just wanted to make sure you got a good look at this book. And hopefully this is helpful, whether you want to jump in or not. I believe the trade is out, and it's 1 through 5. So you'd have to pick up 6, 7, and 8. Maybe 6 was it was 1 through 6. I can't remember. But this is a recommend. And we'll see you next time. I got more comic book reviews to do. I got a couple more, I believe, coming up. And then we'll maybe do some previews as well. So thanks for stopping by. This is Indie Comics Jones. Please subscribe, please like, please leave comments, and we'll see you next time at the Temple of Tomes. I bid you adieu.